Let's dive straight into an exciting Week 11 that featured a ton of marquee matchups and gave us our clearest picture yet of the NFL as we head towards the playoffs. It's the You Like That Feels Great Baby podcast. I'm Erik Stenholm with my co-host Joey Moore. Let's start at the top, Joey. I hate to do this to you, but this might be it for the Niners. I mean, I don't know if you can bury them yet, but we're getting damn close. Just a crushing loss to Seattle. 12 seconds left on the clock. Geno runs it in from 12 yards out. Third time this year they've blown a division game in the final few seconds. I don't know where you go from here. Give us your thoughts on that game and the rest of the season going forward.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the nail in the coffin, but they're getting put in the coffin for sure. Extremely tough loss. A loss that feels somehow worse than the other ones, just because, McCaffrey's back. The red zone issues are still a huge problem. And yeah, they've just ever since Russ left Seattle, they've kind of had Seattle's number, and it just didn't show at all. And most glaringly for me on offense, I don't know why we struggled to move the ball. I know Kittle's out, and it's a big loss, but again, it's a red flag. He just the way he plays, his body, he's getting older. He has a tough time playing 17 games. I don't want him to change his style at all. I mean, part of what makes him such a great player, but it's a big loss. They're now, I don't care, you want to say they're tied for whatever, but they're dead last because they have no tiebreakers anywhere with division opponents. They're now 1-3 in the division, and they've lost all 3 division teams, and their schedule gets really tough. Is there a part of me that somehow thinks they can still put it together and somehow eke out this division? Maybe a small part, but boy.
When your best player on offense, at least, is Juwan Jennings,
I'm bullish on him because he is a really good player.
Yeah.
But it can't happen with the guys on the team making the money they make. It just can't happen.
And he's been fantastic. He's been one of the few positive stories of the season. Really, since the Super Bowl, he's been like one of your best offensive players.
If they would have won the Super Bowl, if I had a vote, he would have been my MVP.
You got to get more from Debo. McCaffrey is doing the best he can coming back in game 2 from his injury. But Purdy was, I would say, okay in that game. I did see a few takes from Niners Twitter. Obviously, follow us on Twitter at YLTFGBpod. But a lot of the Niners stuff that I see on there, it's like Niners fans saying Kyle's unwillingness to give Brock like full reins where he can change the protection at the line and change this and that because he's so rigid with what his offense is really setting the team back. Do you put any stock into that when you watch this team struggling to score, or is it just more of a personnel problem?
I think it's a personnel problem. There's a stat that I saw today that I am trying to find, but essentially it broke down like when the receivers are targeted, like the amount of separation that they have, like all 4 Niner guys are like well below average.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows. Like Deebo Samuel looks slow. I mean, I don't know. He's had a tough year so far. Brandon Ayuk was the guy who did have the separation, did get open, but even before his injury this year, he wasn't doing that, and now he's hurt. Ricky Pearsall, same thing. Although he's a rookie, I think I don't know why he didn't get any targets yesterday or Sunday, I believe, but no one gets open, which actually, in my opinion, makes Purdy look better. They don't have even when McCaffrey, his first game back, he was a decent running, but he had, I think, 6 or 7 catches like out of the backfield against Tampa. They just don't. Debo's not a very big target, and it a lot of what they did well Sunday was Purdy using his legs because the offensive line doesn't hold up.
Mm-hmm. Which may be the fulcrum of the whole thing right there. Is like if Trent Williams is not the best player in the NFL, that whole offensive line starts to look pretty mediocre. And this year it's really, I mean, I look back at the Vikings game. Obviously that's only, one, but there's been several data points where you see opposing defenders in the backfield almost immediately, and you see Purdy having to roll out and step up in the pocket before the play even has a little bit of time to develop. So that's been crushing too. And for the most part, the defense has held up the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's just been, man, this is not the same old Niners. The Lions are now the Niners. We were going to talk about that in a little bit, but the team where the roster is just so incredible that it just shines through every week. This is what the Niners were, 2019 to 2023, and now we're seeing it with the Lions, and it looks like the Niners era has passed them by. It's really tough. But again, if you were in any other division, I think you'd be buried. But because you're in this division where everybody's 5-5, except for Arizona, who's 6-4, and Arizona's scheduled not exactly an easy one coming up, you're still alive. I
found it. According to Next Gen Stats, Niners have the least yards of separation in the entire league at the time of the catch.
It makes sense.
Last year, they were 13th. This year, dead last, behind like Carolina, Tennessee, and the Giants.
And some of that can be attributed to injury. Certainly not all of it. I mean,
no.
Ayuk, Samuel missed a couple games.
The big, the one that killed him Sunday was, he got through it last Sunday, but Bosa, as soon as Bosa left the game, I went up and down the field.
Mm-hmm.
And because as much as I love Fred Warner, it's just linebackers just don't have as much of an impact if the other parts of the defense don't hold up their end of the bargain. And Bosa had 1.5 sacks, both his hips hurt, and he was done. I don't think he played any of the fourth quarter. They get no. And
he looked like he hurt himself on the sack of Geno Smith.
He might have. I know he said the most pain he'd ever played with was last Sunday, and I think they said he hurt his other one. So he's got both. So he couldn't go through it. And it's even more than just actually getting pressure. It's if I was the quarterback, if I was Geno, I'd be like, great, I got to think about it. I got to and it's just you start to even have less, you start to feel like you have more time than maybe even actually you do.
Mm-hmm. And he felt really confident running the ball once
and
Bosa
Geno
was out of the game.
Yeah, Geno, like a lot of quarterbacks, he can make plays. People oh, he's just a bridge guy. They're waiting. Geno Smith, I think he still leads the league in passing yards.
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah.
He's not a bum.
Yeah. He's on pace to throw for 4,600 yards now, maybe even more. A lot of that is due to them having a not so good defense and trailing a lot late in games, but he was good in that game. I think Evan would be the first to say that the Seahawks team is not, one of the great ones. It's not going to be a playoff team, but they, especially after the Niners came into their house and took it to them, to come back and go into Santa Clara and win this game was a big statement for Mike McDonald, especially off the bye, just showing that he was able to get that team ready to go. So quality win for Seattle, really tough loss for the Niners, and that division is now completely thrown into flux. Let's do a quick recap of the Vikings-Titans game that no one in America watched. Solid showing, 23-13 win. We're 8-2. The Titan offense, much like the Jag offense last week, is disastrous. The biggest point from this game is that Darnold righted the ship. 2 touchdowns passing, a rushing touchdown, held onto the ball. He did lose a fumble, but it was a completely whiffed protection by Cam Akers. So I don't really put that on Darnold. That was good to see. I would have liked to see us establish the run a little bit more, especially as we get into the winter months and we got some road games and weather coming up. I would like to see us, give the ball to Jones and Akers a little bit more. But for the most part, solid Viking win. Glad to see us at 8-2. The defense is back to its best. Levis was on the ground the entire game. He was sacked on back-to-back plays by Van Ginkel and the first half, which was really encouraging because he had slowed down a little after a hot start. So defense looks good. Obviously, we'll in a little bit, I'll get your opinion on the Vikings as they go into Chicago. But 23-13 win at Tennessee, probably not worthy of much of our time. We're a good team. They're a bad team. It had to happen. Let's talk about some of the marquee games from Week 11. This was, I think, the best week in the NFL outside of our teams, just with quality games all over the place. I feel like we now have a really good idea of what we both think going into the playoffs. So the Eagles commanded Washington. I thought, Washington hung tough through 3 quarters, but maybe we might have to take the L here. I think not necessarily that Sirianni's done a great job, but the Eagles, especially with Kellen Moore coaching that offense and them getting back to running the ball, they look pretty damn good.
Yeah, they do. Oh, they do. As much as I feel like taking a bit of a victory lap for the Jets, this is the opposite of that. They're really good. They solid both sides of the ball, always offensive and defensive line for Philly. But the biggest thing is their 2 corners, rookie corner, playing really well.
Mm.
They're just, might not have been as much of a sky is falling type thing as other NFC West opponents or NFC teams would have liked. But yeah, they're solid and you're starting to see a little bit with Washington with the Kingsbury second half coming in. Maybe Philly. I mean, Philly's might be a 2 seed in the NFC, probably.
They're going to play Washington in that first round because I think Washington's going to fall to the 7. They're in my opinion, they're in danger of falling out of the playoffs if anybody in the NFC West wakes up. Say Arizona and the Niners or the Rams or whatever go on a run. I think Washington could fall all the way out of this just because, as we called a couple weeks ago, hey, what's Cliff Kingsbury known for? In the NFL, it's hot starts and offense completely fading in the second half. They've lost 2 in a row, both by a little bit of margin. Jaden Daniels has gone from could he win MVP to are we sure he's even going to win Rookie of the Year? I think obviously he will, but shockingly, Bo Nix has been really good. But that Thursday night game really opened my eyes to, hey, we took our victory lap on Washington because they already won more games than their season win total of 6.5. Coming back to earth there. Dan Quinn doing a great job, but it's tough to see them, competing for that division anymore after that showing on Thursday night. I wanted to talk about the Lions just because this is now, when you're dropping 50 burgers on teams, we're talking about clearly the best team in football. The Lions are feeling now what Niners fans felt the last few years. I think when you look at this Lions roster, does it remind you a lot of the Brock Purdy Niners at their absolute peak where it's like, hey, quarterback, do your thing, but you don't even need to be the 5th best player on this team with how good the roster is?
They're actually at the Niners' peak. I think that even Detroit is better offensively. I don't know if Detroit ever is that close to the Niners at their peak defensively, but they're not. I think they're well enough offensively better because Jared Goff is playing extremely well. Their running game is elite, and they have multiple weapons, good tight end on offense, and then the biggest thing is their offensive line is a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit looks like a machine right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
after the shaky first half against Houston, that's now 6 quarters in a row where they've just blown the doors off their opponents. And I'm like, them at 9-1, yes, they do have some tougher games coming up, but they're going to win their next 2. I believe it's they play Chicago on Thanksgiving, and then I forget who they play next week, but it's not a great – it's at Indianapolis. So it's like, okay, they're going to win the next 2. You got to hope that they slip up somewhere. Right now, I just don't see it with the way they're playing, and they're, for the most part, healthy other than Hutchinson. We also have to take an L on the Steelers. I picked them under 8.5 wins. They're already at 8. That win against Baltimore, I mean, dude, I don't know how Mike Tomlin keeps doing this. I mean, we said it before the year that this is just what Mike Tomlin does. He takes mediocre or bad teams and gets them to overperform. With them being 8-2 now, do we need to reconsider, what we think the ceiling of the Steeler team is with how Russ is playing at 4-0?
Yeah, probably. I mean, they're really good. And he's probably made the coaching move of the year going to Russ. Yeah, no, I think I'm interested to see that Christmas game when they play the Chiefs. Um, but yeah, I mean, impressive win again, holding Lamar to another subpar performance in a decently big game. Um, yeah, no, I mean, they're really good.
Tough,
I mean, I
tough
don't know Super
schedule coming
Bowl.
up, but
I don't know about Super Bowl just because do I really think they can compete with like Kansas City and Buffalo in a big game? I don't know. Maybe Buffalo, but like, no, I mean,
Russ would have to find another gear because he's been very good and he's been taking care of the football other than that horrible interception at the goal line last week. But I mean, they're 4-0 because they're not turning the ball over. They're playing good defense. And, even when the offense isn't punching the ball in, freaking Boswell has become the best kicker in the NFL,
wow,
like quietly.
they have a schedule. Wow. They still got 5 division games.
Yeah. And they got at
Browns 2 out of
Baltimore.
the next 3 weeks. Yeah, at Baltimore and still got the Bengals twice. And the Chiefs and Ravens, Eagles. Wow, they got a schedule.
They really do. This is why I faded them at the beginning of the year. I was like, maybe they start, 6-3 or something, but then they may lose. They may go like
They're going to beat the
whatever.
Browns twice, you'd think.
And they'll probably beat the Bengals once. So that gets them to 11 wins right there. So they are obviously going to make the playoffs. The question is, can they stay ahead of Baltimore? And I don't know if that's the case. I think with Baltimore having that game in Baltimore, I think it's week 17 or 18.
But like they're making the playoffs.
Obviously, yeah. And we got to take our lumps on that one. Good on you, Mike Tomlin. Good on you, Russell Wilson. 2 guys that I think people were ready to take to the woodshed at the start of the year, and now they're both looking at, hey, maybe we can get a 2 or 3 seed in this thing, which is pretty unbelievable. Game of the weekend was supposed to be Bills Chiefs. I thought it was a good game. Clearly, this was the put the frickin' dick on the table game for Buffalo. Like, they basically in the fourth quarter said, hey, Josh Allen, take us home. There was no more, I feel like with the Bills in previous seasons, in big moments, they try to get the ball to Diggs. They try to, establish the run, which McDermott wants to do despite them not having the ability to do it. This week, they were just like, Josh Allen, just go do a job. You're the best. He's the MVP favorite. I think he's the best player in the NFL right now, given, obviously you take Mahomes long term, but right now he's the best. Heck of a showing there for Buffalo, who's now half game back, and they own the tiebreaker over Kansas City. So the Super Bowl or bust season for them is really on now.
Yeah, it's a good win. It's a good win. I gotta see it in January.
They could have won by 4 touchdowns. We'd be like, okay, we'll see you in January.
Oh, it's a terrible place to be in as a team, as a fan. Like you're just like, well, we won, and it's like no one cares. But no, I'm not trying to. It's a big win. It's a big win to potentially get that game in Buffalo in January. Yeah, I do. I think it was plus to keep winning because Pittsburgh's keep winning. And
yeah, you got to keep pace with those powerhouse Pittsburgh Steelers. It's pretty crazy. I wanted to say Anthony Richardson, we see you. Heck of a game. We shat on him for weeks on end on this pod. Tremendous game. I mean, it was against the Jets, who showed no reason to ever bet on them again. I mean, they're just horrible. But, put up 30 fantasy points, running the ball, truck sticking dudes into the end zone. Good for you, Anthony Richardson, getting a little confidence back. Bears, Packers. My biggest takeaway as a Vikings fan is that the Packers are not as good as I think a lot of people think they are. They should have lost that game. I thought Love was mediocre. I thought the defense was mediocre, especially against the run. But, man, if you're a Bears fan right now, we shit on the Bears week in, week out. But it's obviously the Jets are more disappointing, but the Bears got to be the second most disappointing team in the league this year.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. But, yeah, I'm interested to see the Niners play the Packers this Sunday because I agree. I don't think they're as good as their record says or as people think they were based on expectations coming into the year. But again, I also wouldn't put any money on the Niners right now. So,
and then one more game before we get into the Week 12 preview. That Chargers Bengals game, I think, was an instant classic. Just like Harbaugh actually getting, the long moribund Chargers to actually show some life. It felt like the first game in Charger history in Los Angeles where they had a real home field advantage. Burrow was like vintage, 2019 LSU Burrow for like a 3-possession stretch there in the second half. Just touchdown, long touchdown, touchdown. Jamar Chase going off now leads the league in receiving by over 100 yards over Jefferson, but after having 2 straight unbelievable games. But Justin Herbert, for one of the first times in his career, comes up in a big moment and gets the W on Sunday Night Football. What'd you think of that game?
Yeah, I mean, Chargers kind of quietly, but 7-3.
2 games back of the Chiefs.
Yeah, and they play. I don't know if it's this week, but I know they got at least one more game. But yeah, I mean, everywhere he goes, he wins. Jim Harbaugh does.
Especially in year one.
I'm a little shocked it's this quick. Because they have nothing like on the outside offensively.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think Harbaugh cares because he wants to just run the ball 45 times.
Yeah, he's turned J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards into Marshall Faulk and Steven Jackson. Like, you're like, weren't these guys that were just not relevant anymore? And boom, they're just, breaking off big runs left and right. They've both been really good. He just knows how to coach them, man. They're just they might end up being the
Justin Herbert. And look at the box score. Justin Herbert was under 50% completion.
Well, what was the yardage?
Well, he's like 297.
Yeah,
two
Tebow-esque.
touchdowns. Yeah,
but he got there when it counted, and that's good to see for him, for a guy who's, I think, just mostly because of coaching through the first 4 years of his career, was seen as a little bit of
Brad McConkey, 6 for 123. Good for you, man. Good for you, dude.
I got him on 2 fantasy teams. That guy has come out of nowhere. I mean, obviously, he was drafted,
Wonder why he fell a bit in the draft.
A little bit of deficiency in the pigment there, but sneaky quick. Good for him. Let's go to week 12. We'll start with the Niners. You're at Green Bay. Hardest stretch of the schedule is here. You got at Buffalo after this. I mean, if the last few games haven't been kitchen sink games, then this one is. I don't know what's left to say. You have to show some life here. It's Fox's game of the week. You're going to get Brady again. He's probably, I mean, along with all the other, media folks ready to bury the Niners, you got to show up here, man. I don't know what else can be done. You made changes on special teams. You got McCaffrey back. What do you think coming into this game? Because I'm going to be pulling for you. I want to see the Packers lose this one.
I mean, it's just like that should have been this Sunday, but I guess we'll wait one more. I mean, it has to be. I mean, you can't go to 5-6. I mean, it's I think he asked me like 2 weeks ago what I want to see after the bye against Tampa. I more of that, but like we haven't really seen it for those 2 weeks. Like, just I want to see McCaffrey have a big game. He hasn't. I'm not gonna say he's been quiet, but he's not. No touchdowns in 2 games, and
how about just a sharp, well-coached game? I haven't seen that in a long time from you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I just probably don't expect it.
Like every Vikings game this year, yes, there are deficiencies in talent, but we're well coached. Every week I see.
I mean, if Nick Bosa doesn't play, which probably won't, I don't know what to expect. I mean, they're just not good defensively.
Right.
Like
Warner can't do it all.
And ever since the tragic passing of his daughter, like Charvarius Ward hasn't played. We're down him. And probably down Bosa. I mean, Hargrave's been out for the whole season, but I mean, it just we're eventually. Dre Greenlaw's not back yet. Like Mafonga's out. They're just not that good with the people they have left, and even when they all were there, not that good.
And yet, despite all of that, Green Bay's only favored by 1.5, which is just stunning. I mean, I thought they'd be favored by 3.5 or more, given all the Niners injuries, given the way the Niners have looked. I mean, you haven't really had like a true Niner-style game in like 5 weeks, and yet Vegas still sees them as like the 5th or 6th best team in the league based on power rating. So really unbelievable. Vikings are at Chicago. So I really want to take the Vikings in the picks this week. We're -3. Chicago is bad. They cannot protect the quarterback. All we can do is rush the passer. Like, if we have no running game going, if our corners suck, if our linebackers can't cover, if, Darnold is having one of those games, we're still going to be able to rush the passer. Like, every week we're in the opponent's backfield. Caleb Williams is going to be on his backside in this game. I think we win this one. But one thing to keep in mind is this is one of those rare scheduling spots. The Vikings are now playing their third straight game on the road with no bye week involved there. So it's like, man, the guys are going to be tired. Let's just finish off this 3-game sweep like it's a baseball getaway day. Just get the win and get the hell out of there. Be in Caleb's face all game. Put that guy on his back. Do what we got to do against a bad football team. Let's look at some of the marquee games. Arizona at Seattle becomes a marquee game now that the winner gets first place. Seattle's been, I would say, good, obviously, like, well coached and fired up, even if the talent isn't there in certain positions. Arizona, bit of a Kyler Murray renaissance for sure, but that defense that was supposed to be 31st, 32nd in the league is more middle of the pack. What do you see going into that one as a Niner fan who's faced these teams in the last few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm excited for someone to lose, but
they can't both lose.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. I think because I think Arizona is better than what I think people assume they are. Just seeing them a tiny bit, and then the one game against the Niners. Yeah, I think Seattle's obviously better. It helps DK Metcalf's back, and they can always Geno throw the ball a bit. But yeah, I don't know. I'm looking for maybe like, I don't know, maybe a nuke to hit the stadium or something.
I thought you were going to say like a 16-14 type ball game. No, he wants to see a bomb go off the stadium. Yeah, that's a little tough. No, that's going to be
I don't know. I just think
Arizona favored by 1.5 on the road in Seattle. That has not happened in a long time, maybe since Carson Palmer days. Maybe not even then. Pretty crazy.
I was playing really well.
Yeah, they look good, and they run the ball well every week with Connor and that guy DeMarcado in the backfield, Benson. They move the ball well. If Marvin Harrison Jr. shows up, they're really tough to stop with, especially with McBride. I mean, he may be second or third best tight end in football already. Sunday Night Football, Philly at the Rams. Big game for the Rams. They have to have it. Philly, I think we're starting to see they are going to win that division, barring another collapse like they had last season, just given that the division's awful. I mean, Washington put up a good fight early in the year, but they're fading. This feels like a McVay nuts on the table game, and I really want to take the Rams here. What do you think about that?
I would probably like Philly. I don't know, just because the Rams, I don't know if it wasn't this week. This week they beat the Patriots, but who did they play last? They lost last week? Week before, I think?
Yeah, they were at home. Who did they play?
I got to look it up.
Yeah, because they beat the Vikings the week prior to that.
Oh, yeah, they lost a Monday Nighter to Miami.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know. I think Arizona's better than what people think, and I think the Rams are maybe not as good as as an opponent. I think Arizona and Seattle are better than the Rams.
Okay.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
I would have thought the opposite. And
obviously massive coaching edge to the Rams, so you think the rosters of those teams are just way better than the Rams roster.
Yeah, I do.
And I mean, that's what happens when you give up, all your first-round picks for like 5 or 6 years. But McVay does the best with what he's got. I'm leaning Rams in that game. They're 3-point dogs at home. And then I think probably the game of the week, Baltimore at the Chargers on Monday Night Football. Good for ESPN for finally getting some good Monday night games here. Baltimore favored by 3. I really want to take the Chargers here. There's something about that Jim Harbaugh magic and something about that John Harbaugh, just for whatever reason in big games. I mean, it's been 12 years since they won the Super Bowl. And in my opinion, it's been, 12 years since you really feared Baltimore, like in a big, big game. So I'm like, at some point, the reputation
when they
they've
lost
earned it.
the divisional round to Tennessee
Mhm.
in 2019, that was like that took a hit to their, I would say, like image or like ability to be feared. And like this week didn't help against Pittsburgh. And again, like Lamar, like can you I was watching like highlights of TV, but like that Nick Wright guy was talking about Lamar, and he was actually like kind of saying what I've been saying a bit in the sense of like for some reason we just don't want to criticize this guy. He's like he was like, what are the games that don't matter on the schedule? And he's like, non-conference. He's like, the greatest quarterback, non-conference quarterback ever is Lamar Jackson. What's his numbers like against, like, they put like his stats up against Dak's in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do we think Dak is an absolute all-time bedwetter in the playoffs? And this guy's like, he needs some help.
Yeah, going to be a 3-time MVP.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the because I mean the thing about Harbaugh is I think they're going to show up. Like, I mean I know it'll be in LA. What does that matter? I don't know, but
I'll tell you, down here the sentiment has changed already with Jim Harbaugh replacing Brandon Staley. I mean, it's just a complete culture change to the point where I think they have a little bit more of a home field advantage than they ever did in their first 4 seasons at SoFi. So things are changing a little bit. I play pickleball with some guys that are Chargers season ticket holders, and they have said it all year. They're like, when we go to the games, it's not the same old Chargers anymore. I'm like, that's what Jim Harbaugh does, man. All going back to University of San Diego, then Stanford, then the Niners, then Michigan. I mean, this is just what the guy does. He's one of the 5 or 6 best football coaches in the country. So that's just what he does, and that's why I'm going to pick them in our picks later. Time for the best segment in the podcast game. Joey's Jack in the Bum of the Week. A lot of candidates this week. I'm going to run through them. You tell me if any of these warrant the big award. Lamar Jackson, we just talked about him. Big game. Doesn't show up. Granted, he took them down there and got that touchdown when they were down 8, just couldn't get the 2-point conversion. But really, just you look at his stats in that game, not Lamar-esque, not MVP level. And he's fallen off now that he's facing, these games that are critical in division. He's now 1-4 in his last 5 against Pittsburgh. He beats up on the bad teams, and then he tends to do this against the good defenses. I know I like the guy. I've always said, he's one of the 5 or 6 best players in the league. Not last week. I mean, it's starting to seem like a bit of a pattern there. Doug Peterson, I have no idea how he hasn't been fired. Like, I thought he would have been fired after the London game. I thought he would have been fired 2 weeks ago. Thought maybe he could have gotten fired after the Viking game. He's somehow still there after losing 52-6. Probably the worst team in the NFL right now. Carolina has 3 wins. Somehow they have more than Jacksonville. So, I mean, Peterson should be on this list. Woody Johnson is the talk of the NFL right now. A lot of recent reporting has come out saying that obviously he's been, instrumental in making all of these moves, bringing Rodgers back for a second season, firing Saleh, basically stripping Joe Douglas of all of his power and then firing him maybe 8 or 10 hours ago. Like, this guy clearly is one of the worst owners in the league, and by all accounts, Jets fans are ready to move on. They're hoping he takes another role in the upcoming administration, like he did last time when he was like the U.S. ambassador to England or something, and then he stepped away, and then the Jets actually like put together a decent couple drafts. Like, get this guy out of the building. He's a complete clown. Lou Anarumo would have been my pick. Joe Burrow is playing like a unanimous MVP level quarterback. He's on pace for like 4,800 yards, 40 touchdowns, 8 picks, something like that. One of the best seasons we've seen in a long time. His team's 4-7. Like, poor coaching, poor defense. And then Jerry Jones, obviously, I think for many, 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 many reasons. But, he's the talk of the town this week with his stadium falling apart and all this other stuff. What direction are you going in, Joey?
yeah, all really good candidates. A lot of returners. A lot of returning candidates, mostly on like Jacksonville and the Jets. But I don't know. My heart. I said it before. I got to go with Jerry Jones in Dallas because the stat that I cannot get out of my head. 6 straight home games. You've been at you've been down at 1 point, 20 points. That's nuts. That's like Division II college football playing Alabama, like every week. I don't know.
Mind-boggling.
And I know they've had some injuries, but like Dak's not been out that long. 6 games, 20? 20. The Dallas Cowboys, and like you've had, like, I mean, maybe the Saints were better, but the Saints came in there and absolutely rolled them.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they play Carolina. I don't know if that's in Carolina or not, but I'm interested to see if they go down 20 to Carolina. At this point, anything's on the table. But yeah, the stadium stuff, the stuff like just players and him, Mike McCarthy. It's going to be a long, hard 2 months in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're him, you get blamed because he's got every job title in the world for his own entity. So,
and he still wants to be in front of the camera every second of every week. Why?
I would love to be like it. Like if I owned a team, I would make myself in charge of it. The one thing I wouldn't do is the press conference every week, and like the radio hits and everything. And I'd probably listen to my players more if they said they don't want to be animals at the zoo with all these tours going on. Maybe I would stop the tours, but nope. But the 6 straight home games down 20, wow.
If I told you that Carolina or Jacksonville had done that, you'd be like, yeah, they suck. If I told you that Dallas Cowboys,
I don't even know. Like that's even if you're a bad team.
Mm-hmm.
Lose a game like 10-9 or something.
No team in the NFL is ever a 20-point dog at home. I don't think that's happened in 40 plus years. And yet they've been down 26 straight games at home. Like, you can blame Mike McCarthy all you want. You can't blame Dak for the last few games. You can't blame, CeeDee Lamb. He's been great despite having shitty quarterbacks throwing him the ball. It's on Jerry, man. As long as he's there, this is what they are. This is what they're going to be.
And look at their schedule. I mean, they might finish like 3-14.
3-7 now, 7 games to go. No, they play on Thanksgiving against the Giants, I believe it is.
Okay, so maybe there. But they're at Washington this week. They got Bengals. They go at Carolina, but at this point, Tampa, Philly, Washington.
LLL. It doesn't matter if it's Cooper Rush or Trey Lance, which, by the way, Trey Lance, you can't even start over Cooper. I mean, oof. Cooper Rush is so bad.
Well, I saw he came in and threw a pick. Lance did.
Mm-hmm. You feel bad for the guy.
Might be in the CFL.
Might be a Toronto Argonaut at this time next year.
I might see him in that, the UFL or US, whatever it's called.
Edmonton Eskimos, something like that. Poor guy. All right, so Joey's going with Jerry Jones. Very, very deserving Jack in the Bum of the Week. He's the talk of the NFL right now for just like, this thing has fully come to a head. Obviously, you're going to fire the coach, but can't fire the owner. So, sorry, Jerry. Let's go to the You Like That picks of the week. We're now 30-23-2 on the season, a 3-2 week last week to keep our winning streak going. We've only had one losing week in the last 10. I mean, come on, man. Like, we're doing well. Like, this feels pretty good. Let's keep it rolling here. I'm going to do what I very rarely do on this pod. I don't think I've only done it once this year when they played the Jets, but I am going to pick the Vikings with my first pick, -3 at Chicago. We may not score a lot of points, but we ain't going to give up very many at all. I think we're going to beat the living tar out of frickin' Caleb Williams. Like, we're going to be in the backfield all game. Van Ginkel and Grenard and Pace and all these guys that are they're just in the opponent's backfield on 1 out of every 2 plays. Like, you see a snap, poor Will Levis, like maybe 3 or 4 times, the ball hit his hand from the shotgun, and there was already someone at his feet, and you're like, this is nice. Like, actually having a defense drawn up by Brian Flores that's just the other team doesn't know what to do. And Caleb Williams is not going to know what to do in this game. I feel confident going into this week. I'm going to take Seattle +1.5 at home. You don't see the Seahawks in a divisional game getting points at home very often. I think they're coming off the emotional high of that Niner win. They're coming back home. They're rested because they had the bye last week. They're getting healthy. The wide receiver core is healthy. I think they put up points in this game against an Arizona defense that may be a little bit overrated. I like Seattle there. Joey, I'm sorry. Green Bay -1.5. I just feel like the Niners are kind of cooked. We talked about it earlier. The defense is just, I mean, they're leaking bodies. They got nothing left. It's just Warner and a bunch of scrubs at this point. I like Green Bay to put up some points there in that one, and I just don't know if this version of the Niners can score 25 or 30 in Lambeau. Give me the Rams on Sunday Night Football +3. I think when they're going up against Philly, yeah, there's going to be a lot of Philly fans at that game, but Philly is a relatively one-dimensional team with the way they've been playing the last few weeks. I think McVay is a good enough coach to where he can limit Hurts a little bit here. And then give me the Chargers and Jim Harbaugh and the Harbowl on Monday Night Football. I just think they've gotten up, and they're just – it's a franchise that's in the ascendancy right now, and I think Baltimore's a little wounded. So there's your You Like That picks of the week for Week 12 in the NFL. Vikings -3, Seattle +1.5, Green Bay -1.5, the Rams +3, and the Chargers +3. Joey, it's time for your Feels Great Baby, your wildest take you feel best about currently. And I don't know where you're going with this one because, I mean, we certainly saw a lot of stuff going on in the NFL in Week 11 that really solidified things for us. Where are you going?
This one might be a bit wild. Yeah, I haven't talked about it, but I think for a few weeks now I've been like pretty decently high on Denver. I think I feel pretty wild about Denver not only making the playoffs, but Bo Nix might win Rookie of the Year too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I feel pretty wild about. Is that Denver makes the playoffs and Bo Nix wins Rookie of the Year over Jaden Daniels.
Can you imagine at the beginning of the year? I mean, what were the odds?
Look at their numbers now because I was curious about it. Jaden Daniels has about 60 more yards passing. But he's 10-3, 10 picks or 10 touchdowns, 3 picks. And Bo Nix is 14-6. But I'll give him the rushing touchdowns. So total, Jaden has 14. I got to go look at. I forgot to count rushing for.
Because Bo Nix runs the ball quite a bit.
Yeah. So let's see. He's got 4 too. So he's got 18-6. 18-6 compared to 14-3, which is not bad. And then the rushing. Total with passing in, he's got like 2,600. Bo Nix, and
I'd say the cast and crew is just so much better in Washington too. Like he's doing it with less.
Yeah.
Bo Nix.
No, I mean, look, a couple weeks ago, like this wasn't even a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
But Jaden Daniels got injured and then had he hasn't done a touchdown pass in a while. Well, he had one this week, I think. Yeah. But none the week before. He's got like 500. He's got 20. He had like 200 more total yards.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Daniels has. But with Cliff Kingsbury's second half and like they got a tough schedule, if he's injured, I don't know. I feel pretty good about. But it's like this is such like a narrative, like a human thing, and I feel like people are gonna have a hard time voting for Bo Nix over Jaden Daniels.
When it's very clear Jaden Daniels is a better player. It's just like who is having a better rookie season. And I don't think
like right now, gun to my head, yeah, Jaden Daniels is a better player.
Yes.
I think Bo Nix could be better. I do.
And are we surprised?
I think both could be really good.
Are we surprised at all that these are the two clear best rookie quarterbacks when they're 25 and 24, whereas Caleb Williams is 22? Like playing matters.
It's just like the starts. I would have said the same thing for like JJ McCarthy. It's also where you go. Like Denver, with say that you want to know Sean Payton, he knows something about something with offense, especially in quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels goes like Cliff Kingsbury, like we'll see what it does the second half, but like he knows something about something. And Caleb Williams goes to Chicago.
Who knows nothing about nothing.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm not totally sure. I mean, you look at him in a vacuum, like Bo Nix got big arm, like he's very athletic.
And extremely confident, almost to the point of arrogant, like while he's in the backfield. Like you see him moving around like he's playing against some second-tier SEC team. I'm like,
but you know what the thing is? Like Caleb does that. Like it's like it looks like I said it last week. It looks like he thinks he's more athletic than he is. The difference is Bo Nix is getting away.
Yeah.
And like I'll give him a little bit. Like Chicago's offensive line, not great. Okay. But
Denver's got $75 million a dead cap this year. They're playing with a bunch of scrubs on that offense.
Oh yeah, they're only going to get better.
Yeah. Good on Bo Nix. I mean, he comes into a situation that was tough.
Cortland Sutton's, decent, but like you got Rome Odunze, who's I think, really good. DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. It's like, come on.
Yeah. Put Bo Nix or Jaden Daniels in the Chicago situation. I think they would have done significantly better. It's a lot of the reason I'm, betting against Chicago every week. Yeah, I like that take. I mean, a lot of people thought Bo Nix was overdrafted at the 12th pick. A lot of people thought he would be second or even third round pick. He's really showed people a lot, and he's gotten really good really quick. So good on him.
The one thing I was going to say is, like, it's going to be hard to convince. Like, I feel like people already checked their box for, like, Jaden Daniels, Rookie of the Year, borderline MVP. And it's like, it's not that they have to convince themselves that Bo Nix is better than Jaden Daniels. It's that people have to convince themselves that they were wrong. Because they were already in their head, were like, oh, that's Jaden.
Oh, this is over. Yeah.
It's like, oh, now I have to, like, prove to myself that I'm wrong, which no one likes to do. And it's like, am I the idiot that thought, like, am I going to – I don't know. It's just this whole thing. I still feel like if Jaden Daniels finishes halfway decent.
If they finish with equal stats and relatively equal,
But like you're saying, if Washington falls off, misses the playoffs, and Denver makes it, which I think they're in right now as the 7. The only team even –
It would take a big collapse from Denver, just given that Cincinnati's 4-7, Indianapolis is 5-6.
That's the only team that they're one game behind, I think. That's it.
Yeah. Denver's going to make it, and it's impressive. I dislike Sean Payton with a fiery passion, but got to give him a tip of the cap there. He's gotten Bo Nix ready to play real quick. So Joey's Feels Great Baby take. Bo Nix wins Rookie of the Year, and the Broncos make the playoffs. Let's close the pod with a little nonsense here. We'll keep this one short and sweet. I wanted to do our top 5 fast food burgers. So on this pod, every once in a while, when we try to keep it light, we did top 5 Thanksgiving foods last year. We did top 5 Halloween candies. We did top 5 favorite beers. We've done favorite dinners overall, all that stuff. Let's do top 5 fast food burgers. And fast food, by the way, this is the criteria. It has to have a drive-through for it to qualify for this award. So if it's a standalone that has no drive-through, it is not considered fast food. So that eliminates Five Guys, in my opinion. I don't think there's Five Guys with drive-through, if I'm correct, but maybe I'm wrong.
I've never seen one.
Yeah, I've never seen.
They wouldn't have made mine anyway.
Oh yeah, what do I have $500 sitting in my pocket that I'm looking to blow? No, it's too expensive. All right, we'll go 5-1. I know it's going to be tough for you as just a connoisseur of fast food burgers, one of the all-time great consumers of American fast food. But I'm gonna just start it really simple here. McDonald's double quarter pounder is my number 5. Obviously, double quarter pounder with cheese. Love getting that with a large fries and a large high C orange at the drive-thru. That's a go-to. That's also my brother's go-to. Like you're on the way home from work and you're like, I don't want to cook. Let's do it. Double QPC. Let's do it. That's my number 5. What's yours, Joey?
I have. That's the one I get the most because when where we live, that's the only thing freaking close. But no. Number 5, classic. I got to go with Wendy's Dave's Double. I think I love Wendy's more than most people. I've always been a huge Wendy's guy. Probably starts because my dad's grandparents used to live very close to one. We used to walk there, and then like the 1 or 2 years I did a little hockey on Tuesday nights at Sharks Ice, or it's called Isoplex at the time. My mom it was always be Wendy's after. So big Wendy's guy, Dave's Double. Wendy's unique with the square patties. Although lately in the last few years they changed the type of lettuce that it's on, and that I hated it. Like that pissed me off. But
Oh,
if they got this like flat and it's got this one ridge of just crunch in the lettuce, I hate
yeah.
that.
Huh. You
It
like
makes
to
it
be
taste so fake, which it probably is anyway. I mean, to
looking
be
at
honest.
you, Wendy's. Get your lettuce back in the game. Come
But I
on.
love like their thing. I mean, compared to the others, they add the mustard on
Mhm.
them, and yeah, good size too.
Yeah. Good size, good value. Dave's double, number 5 for Joey.
Oh, it's not good value. None of these are good value. These, since I've been buying these for so long, they cost at least double what I used to pay for. So
Yeah.
that pisses me off.
Yeah.
Um,
We can't get into that because we'll just drive over a
it'd be
cliff
like,
with how
it'd be
expensive
like,
this is.
damn. Like, yeah. I had
Like
fun.
a meal at a drive-through is now like $18 for us. I'm like, oh God, that's ridiculous. Number 4 for me. So this place does have a few drive-throughs. I had to look it up. They have like several drive-throughs down here in SoCal. The Habit Double Char is going to be number 4 for me. It's just a tremendous burger. I almost always get it at a Habit where it's like, you know, you got to walk in, but there are some drive-throughs, so it barely qualified under this criteria. It's similar to a Burger King one in that you taste the like flame broiled, the char. They got excellent cheese there, good bun, excellent burger. I go the Habit Double Char at number 4. What's your number 4?
My number 4, also another one that looks like you don't have here. But I got to go the A&W.
Okay.
To be honest, I should know this. I don't have it very often because there isn't that many. Is it called the Papa Burger?
It's like the All American something. I can't remember.
I don't
But
even
it's
know
their
what it's
main
called.
one, the
But it's
number
like the
one.
main like
Yeah.
double burger,
Yeah.
whatever it is. I love it. I think the only thing I think it's like it's a little bit smaller than I'd like compared to the other ones. But in terms of like how you got the burger bun ratio, with the cheese, big
Excellent.
A&W.
And yeah, get that with a nice A&W root beer float. Tremendous. Fantastic. Number 3 for me, I'm going back to McDonald's. This is my most common fast food order. Just the McDouble, or usually they have a 2 for $3. Now it's like 2 for $4 or 2 for $5 or whatever it is for the McDouble. But I just love the classic McDonald's cheeseburger. So give me the McDouble here. It's small, it's cheap, but it's like the most nostalgic of like I would eat this all the time as a teenager and like still a huge fan of it. Tiny little bits of slivered onion and pickles on there. Fantastic. Give me the McDonald's McDouble at number 3.
Interesting. 2 McDonald's. My number 3, and like I feel like we're going to another tier. Like
This is a step up from
Like, yeah.
A&W. Yeah.
I think 4 or 5 Wendy's A&W. This is a tier up on its own. It's a tier below 2 and 1.
Okay.
But yeah, I gotta go to the Burger King Whopper and cheese, the double Whopper with cheese. I think it's really good.
Mhm.
I think it feels bigger too.
Yes.
Um,
Wider.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it feels like that it stays put well together. Like I don't feel like it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Quality
and I do.
toppings always on a
Yes.
Whopper.
Yeah, and I do like the fact you get to taste like the charbroiled grill marks. I do feel like I also like the sesame bun.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, I really like Burger. The only thing is I feel like they're also more expensive too.
Yeah, you're getting damn near $10 for a Whopper with cheese, but that's my number 2. Is the Burger King Whopper with cheese. Just tremendous. We had one of these recently. I probably hadn't been to Burger King in 3 or 4 years, and then we've gone like twice in the last like 2 or 3 months. Oh my God, it's just so good. And I'm a big fan of like lettuce, tomato, onion, mayonnaise that you can actually taste on a burger. And oh my God, it's still, you know, I'm a full grown adult now, and I still feel like a little kid when I'm holding that thing. I'm like, this is just a big, wide burger, and it's just so good. Their fries suck. Like there's no getting past that.
I thought their fries were really good, and then they changed them, and I didn't like them. I feel like they've changed them again, and I kind of like them again.
Okay, I still think Burger King fries are probably the worst in the game, but that burger, oh my God. Whopper with cheese is my number 2. Elite burger. I agree with you where this is a tier above the other ones that I had and also a tier below number 1, but Whopper with cheese, number 2. What's your number 2?
My number 2 might be a little controversial, but I don't think so. My number 2 is In-N-Out.
Okay.
In-N-Out, double. I think you either love it or you hate it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they got the best onions too.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll put like the chili on it, chilies, like
Chopped
banana
chilies.
pepper.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean
That's
the
Jamie's
cheese,
go-to order is with the chopped chilies.
really?
Yeah.
Kayla loves it. She always has me add it. Yeah. I think a good size.
And probably the only one on here that's still a good value.
Oh yeah, that's a big part of it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
We're not. I mean, it's still really taste, but like I have it a lot because it is not like gonna ream me at the cashier. But yeah, I mean, it's really good. It doesn't taste like complete garbage, which most of these fast food places you can feel like if you really focus on it, taste the garbage.
The process.
Yeah, you taste the process. Yeah, you got to trust the process. It's taste the process. Yeah. No,
Yes. Spoiler alert. That's my number 1. I mean, In-N-Out double. My typical order is double animal style fries, and a large Neapolitan shake. I'm trying to focus on some weight loss at the moment, so I haven't had this in quite a while.
You don't want to know what last time I went.
Oh my God. What would be your standard order at In-N-Out?
I mean, it's not my standard order, but I was hungry. It was the night after I went to the Sharks game. And I went with Kayla's cousin, Jake, and we went to In-N-Out in Livermore, driving all the way back from San Jose.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes up, and I was like, "Yeah, I got you." Like, whatever. Like, thanks for driving me. And he orders 3 doubles, and
for himself.
And it's yeah. And like I was like, damn, okay, I should have charged you. And then 2, I was like a proud dad. To defend him, he is very picky. So like I forget what he actually puts on, but his doubles are like half the size of mine. Like he doesn't put onion, lettuce. Like I think I'm not even sure he has cheese. Honestly, I don't even think he likes cheese.
Huh?
I think he gets 2 hamburger with like a tomato. That might be it.
Mm-hmm.
So his are like half size of mine. So I was like, I'm not about to have this 20-year-old show me up at In-N-Out. So I was like, give me 3 doubles, 2 fries, and a chocolate shake. And like those burgers stood no chance.
Oh my God.
Like I ate them, and like people would be concerned at how easy I took them down. And
but
granted,
they don't realize that's the one meal you've eaten in the last 40 hours.
That's the thing. I probably hadn't. Like honestly, I don't think I ate that whole day. But yeah, I did not eat all the fries. The milkshake, toast, drank that, the 3 burgers, and I probably had probably between 1 and 1.5 like fry. I did not finish all the fries.
Do you get extra spread? I always ask for extra spread.
Well, I do because Kay likes it when we go, but no, I don't use it ever.
Okay.
I don't care for it.
That's why I'm so full after this. I'll get like 4 extra spread.
I'm just lazy to like
cut it open.
All that, yeah. Yeah, that's really it. Plus, okay, I do really like just the fries with no sauce, like no ketchup, nothing.
That's the thing. I like In-N-Out fries, but I prefer them animal style. I almost never get the regular fries anymore, just because I love having that melted cheese and that awesome spread on there, and then I cover it in some pepper and salt. It's really, really good. But that's my number 1, far and away. It's like In-N-Out number 1, Burger King Whopper number 2, and then a pretty large drop off, and then my other 3. You said your tier 1 and 2 are on a tier of their own. What's number 1?
I don't know. I think they're separate. I think we got tier 1 is 1, tier 2 is 2, and then tier 3 is. No, my 1. I freaking love this place. Is the Habit. I absolutely love the Habit. The double char. The only reason why I don't have it more is because it's expensive, and I got to get 2 of them, and I add bacon, so it's like $50 every time I go. Because I get like 2 double chars, add cheese and bacon, and like 2 fries and a soda.
My God.
And like, yeah, I mean, the thing is like, that's the thing, but it's gone. Like, it's gone.
Blink and it's gone.
Yeah, I absolutely love the Habit. I never forget. I never even heard of it until like I met Kayla when she lived in Pleasanton at the time, and her mom one time was like, "Oh, you should go to the Habit Burger. It's right around the corner." I'm like, "What the hell is that?" Like this, we're going to go to this, I don't know, hole in the wall.
You were a Jack in the Box loyalist at
loser
that
place I
time.
never heard. Yeah. And went there and was like, because the thing that I like about it, and I don't really abide by it, is like it feels, if I really, really try not to be a complete badass, it's like I really could have one and be good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like every
It
other
feels like real food, like a substantial.
No, I mean, it's just big enough. Like some like the other ones, like
especially McDonald's, it's so small.
Last time I went to Wendy's out here. The first time I'd actually driven there, the drive-through had this I don't know, a few days ago. 2 Dave's doubles and like only one fry though. So, but like
wow,
all these other ones I have to like I get 2 of them. Like last time I went to Burger King. Well, no, because I ordered 2 double Whoppers, but they messed up and gave me 2 regular Whoppers. So I was like pissed.
2 doubles. Oh my god.
And it's like
that's got to be like 5,000 calories.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like this. You should not eat like this. The thing is, like, yeah, I probably didn't eat for 24 hours after it.
Yeah,
or before it. But I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying like I'm lazy. But
the Habit, number 1 for you.
Oh yeah,
the char is just fantastic. It's like Burger King's char, really, but even more.
I think they have the best bun to burger ratio. The bacon they put on it really good. Yeah, I do. I just love the Habit.
I haven't had it in like a year. I freaking love that place. It's been so long. I got to get back there. Yeah, I remember we went when there was a Habit right by my old apartment in Foster City, and you came over to watch some football, and we went to the Habit, and I was like, did he really just order 2 for just himself? And it was gone before I finished mine. I was like, hey, more power to you, my friend. Very impressive.
Yeah, see, I know. I used to just get burger fry. Then I crossed over to the 2 burgers, 1 fry.
Mm-hmm.
And then like lately, like it's become the 2x2. It's been 2 burgers, 2 fries. And then I'll know I have a problem when I get 2 drinks. The problem is the 2 drinks would solve the issue of like these people like I wonder if they always question me like you got 2 burgers, 2 fries, 1 drink. There's only 1 person like in the car or like here like see I don't like the 2 drinks messes with the mind.
Yeah, because then they're like, oh, this is for him and his wife. Yeah,
clearly. This is for somebody. Imagine if we don't know, but it's not just him.
No. But when you're in there dine in for 1 and you order that, they're like, oh my God, here he comes. Ugh, never change, man. You've been the same we've known each other for 15 years. You've been the same diet that whole time.
I am proud to say like I don't eat nearly as bad as I used to. When I do go, my order doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
When I do go, my order doesn't change. But I actually eat a lot more salad than I ever have.
Mm-hmm.
And I
but when we first met, you didn't eat anything other than that kind of food. And now you're like, oh, you like, all sorts of different kinds of Mexican food now. You'll try, other stuff.
Better, but yeah.
I
freaking love. I used to like be so anti-Mexican food because all I knew was like Taco Bell. And I'm like whatever. Then never forget, like a couple summers ago, Kayla had a work party and they catered a taco truck, and I'm like, I guess I got to eat something. Ended up loving it. I think I had like 10 tacos.
Yeah, you love those street tacos because it's just meat, a little bit of onion and cilantro.
I absolutely hate cilantro.
Oh, okay.
It's like the dishwasher, people say. It does. Tastes like soap.
See, that's the thing. I love it. But then there's all these people who say there's some sort of, it tastes like soap.
Yeah.
Huh.
But I'm huge on like big lime guy.
Yeah.
Big onion guy. Yeah.
There it is. Our top 5 fast food burgers. We had to do it when we're talking with one of the America's foremost experts on fast food. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll be back again next week for our pre-Thanksgiving episode, hopefully after a couple of hard-fought wins for our teams. We'll be back next week with another episode of the You Like That Feels Great Baby podcast. See you then.